not wear hijab occasionally or ceremoniously. It is an obligation we observe. Aisha Yesufu. Nigerian human rights activist Aisha Yesufu has taken to social media to react to a trending photo of a lawyer who dresses like a native priest to court proceedings. Reacting to the development via her official Twitter handle, Aisha Yesufu hailed the man's actions to continuously dress in a similar fashion to all his appearances at the court. According to her, the man should endeavor to dress the same way to his office, the marketplaces, and other public gatherings. In her words, she says, "Way to go!" Exclamation mark. He should dress like this not just to court sittings, but to his office, market, public gatherings, etc. We do not wear the hijab occasionally or ceremoniously. It is an obligation that we observe and use all the time. And that is why the Supreme Court gave that ruling. Aisha Yesufu based her submission on the fact that the wearing of hijab is not done occasionally or ceremoniously, stressing that it is an obligation they serve or observe all the time, and that is why the Supreme Court gave the ruling. You'll recall that the Supreme Court ruling on the use of hijab has generated several reactions from Nigerians on social media platforms. It was the ruling that prompted this lawyer to adopt this style of dressing to court proceedings. Okay, so initially when this man came out, of course, everyone thought he was joking around because realistically it is far-fetched. However, when you read his argument, you can't necessarily say it's unjustifiable because he makes a very good argument. I mean, he's a lawyer, right? However, it's very far-fetched. Why unnecessary? Because him dressing like that, it's an unconventional way. So if it is a thing where there is a conventional standard whereby native doctors and traditional rulers wore that attire all the time to several occasions and different events, and it was just their lifestyle, it'll be fine because why? It is conventional. However, he is single-handedly trying to push this in a court that already has an established way of dressing, an established way of your appearance, right? So it is very far-fetched with the argument he tried to make. However, with the logic of the argument, it does make sense. He also gave arguments of, us trying to be in our own culture, which is valid in its own right, however, in the wrong context. If he went through with that argument, we would literally have an unproductive discourse. Why? Because it's irrelevant to the court case and it's irrelevant to the wearing of a hijab. As she said, this is their religion, right? And if you compare the relevance or the popularity of Islam and traditional worship in Nigeria, Islam takes, it's literally just Islam and Christianity, and then you have the little percentage that has to do with the others. So it's the main two religions or the two main religions, and then you have others where traditional worship also lies in as well. So in terms of the general population, a lot of relevance will not be given to traditional worship. Not that it doesn't deserve it, but it doesn't serve a majority. It doesn't take over. It doesn't have any popularity with Nigeria's population. So it's not surprising. But I think it's a thing where, okay, it's not necessarily an obligation for your religion, if that's what you call it. However, for Islam it is mandatory, and so it's been a fight for a very long time, and Muslim women have faced different discriminations because of that only. And so in their right, they have been through what they've been through as a result of wearing the hijab, and of course the fight against that and them trying to still uphold their religious values. And then you come with your own argument, basically trying to undermine it. It looks very insulting, and I guess that's why you may assume that Aisha Yesufu came with a very forceful and defensive statement, because his argument was very much a slap on the face of Muslim women, basically, because it's like he's trying to pit his case with the same level of relevance as Muslim women, which does not correlate, because again, everyone made a joke of him and what he was saying, like where is this man coming from, what is he doing, does not make sense. So yeah, that's just what I think on the matter. I think Aisha was right in everything, and again, it's like subjects like this are very sensitive, so you have to, as much as you want to be diplomatic, also, you know, um, observe a stand and show where you stand in situations like this. Um, Someone, there's many comments, and a first comment here states, please keep your obligation in your house and to God in spirit. Stop being a hypocrite. Nigeria is not an Islamic center or country. And again, the situations like this show why the court needed to pass that ruling, because if not, people in their subjectivity and their own unsolicited opinions would want to trample upon and try to be dominant as to what they believe and enforce it on others. And that is why the Supreme Court exists. Not saying that Nigeria is the best country to apply apply the law with all integrity and all fairness and in the best way possible. However, you'd think that for how diverse Nigeria actually is, would be more tolerant of each other, and it's like it's literally the opposite. I mean, we are so diverse when it comes to religion, worship, and then our tribes and ethnicity and where we come from. I mean, we're just so diverse. I mean, there are so many languages, there's so many tribes and sub tribes who want to be on their own and claim that they're different to the main tribe that they're under. Again, these are arguments we're always going to keep having, and these are situations where it's not necessarily, it's another person's worship. You cannot say worship God in private. What right do you have to say that? You know, and this is where, again, because under the guise or under the freedom of, or under the platform of freedom of expression, it's like, okay, where is the line? There's an invisible line. Where do we cross? Where do we not cross? Somebody here says, do you wear it as your sleeping gown? Irrelevant argument. Nigeria is a country with different religions. If court will allow Muslims as a religion to wear hijabs to public schools, Christian or traditional can do the same in other public institutions. I think there's an aspect to the law where fairness, or as they say, equity, is also relevant, however, still subjective. And that is why the court also has to have a specific stance. You cannot, as much as you want to be fair, you cannot say that. Why? Because if Muslim women weren't facing certain discriminations or certain, because the problem is, if there's a uniform, right? So now schools now have a uniform, you have to follow this uniform. And so with Muslim women, their uniform is, I guess, the hijab that they wear it everywhere, right? In public spaces. So it's a thing where, how do we adapt that to what the conventional society is? And because Islam is a major religion in Nigeria, it should be taken into consideration. Again, to make and pass these laws are very hard, but you have to understand that the government should be a representation of its people, and if a majority of that representation or identity has to do with Islam and they're Muslims, then that also has to be catered to in the constitution. Not saying that religions of less popularity do not deserve that much attention. However, they are not facing the same discriminations as those in Islam. That is the point. So when you try to make your point, it is very much disrespectful, because you are putting your, I guess, level of oppression to another person's level and trying to, in a bid to make your point, you undermine what another person is going through, which doesn't make sense and really and truly should not be the base of any argument. In this time, this is the time we're meant to be focusing on elections and campaigns. This is not the time to focus on some ruling that the Supreme Court passed that has with identity. Not saying it's unimportant, but right now, given the current climate of the Nigerian um um election space, this conversation does not add or take or do anything for us. So yeah, put what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.